Frankenstein was about to get a huge makeover in the 90s from its 1931 Karloff whale masterpiece. However, it's not the one you're thinking of. Instead, it's a television special on TNT, directed by David Wicks.
Anyway, tell me what you want to know about Frankenstein. But how did it start? Oh, well, I'd done a number of pictures for American TV, and I was approached by my agent in Los Angeles. Would I consider doing, after I'd done Jack the Ripper with Michael Caine, I followed that up with Jekyll and Hyde, also with Michael Caine, and they both got very good ratings, which is very fortunate for me. And so I was asked by my American agent, would I like to do Dracula? Well, it so happened that I heard that there were two other Draculas looking for a home. And I thought, I'm not sure about Dracula. So he said, I don't want to get pigeonholed into horror pictures either. But after a bit of discussion and a few telephone calls, I said, what about Frankenstein? And they said, can you get Michael Caine for it? And unfortunately, I couldn't. But at that time, Patrick Bergin had just finished a picture called Sleeping with the Enemy with Julia Roberts. As he likes to point out to people, I was the enemy, he used to say to people, you know. I met him and I was very impressed. I thought he was terrific. I looked at his work and I said to my agent, okay, well, I'd be prepared to do that. Who's going to finance it? Where's the money coming from? He said, well, he'd had a call from Ted Turner. Well, that impressed me enormously. And I thought, well, okay, that means we're going to have a part for Jane Fonda, does it? And he said, no, it's nothing like that. But Turner Pictures, he's headquartered in Atlanta, of all places, but he's got offices in Century City in Los Angeles. So, long story short, said, okay, I'll do Frankenstein. And I'd read the novel by Mary Shelley, a hell of a long time before that, you know, when I was young, and everybody did. And I thought, well, maybe I could put a slightly new emphasis on it, but nothing that she hadn't, Mary Shelley hadn't put into it. It's just a matter of emphasis rather than changing her intention. And one of the things that I thought was absolutely terrific, that she appeared to be saying, if you create something, you love it. You know, I dare say Puccini loved his operas when he'd done them, you know. Rembrandt loved his paintings, maybe. What if you were to create a human being? Oh, now that could be very problematical. Well, problems are the stuff of drama, so I thought, okay, I'll work on that, and I tried to do that. Then, maybe the fun part about this is that I had made a picture with David Essex called Silver Dream Racer, which had done rather well. It was a theatrical, and we'd been taken to Poland because it did extremely well in Poland, and we were celebrated in Poland. It did pretty well everywhere. I'm fortunate in that one, and we were invited as guests of the communist, at that time, government of Poland under a very dictatorial general called General Jaruzelski. And we went, and it wasn't a place that I would have wanted to make a film in. But at that very time, the communist government collapsed because the Berlin Wall had come down. It was under a guy called Lech Wałęsa, and his organization called Solidarity, which had taken over from the communists. And I thought, well, might give it a try. And I had a couple of contacts there, and I called them. One of them was a well-known Polish actress called Małgorzata Potocka, and she said, "Oh no, everything's different here now. It's absolutely wonderful here now. Come, come, come." So I went with my designer, and we got on a plane and went there, and we looked around. It was different, but you know, in 2 years you don't change from the poverty that they had and the awful depression that they had. I decided what we must do is we must find out the cost, because taking people to Poland, you know, hotels, and are there any hotels, you know, oh dear, are they clean, you know, I mean, it's all problematical. Well, the hotels were clean, and there weren't very many of them, as you can imagine. They had been for the nomenklatura, as they call the communist elite. And I went with my designer, and we looked around, and I must say it looked pretty good. So I said, okay, let's work out a budget. When the Poles came up with a budget, I was absolutely breathtaken. And Turner Pictures asked me, "What's the Polish budget?" And of course, obviously, there was money to pay for people who weren't Polish, and all the creatives were not Polish, you know. And I offered them the budget and said, "This is, I don't know how to believe this or not, but it does look wonderful." And they said, "Oh, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic." And at that time, my production manager, Paul Tivers, he had just joined me from Steven Spielberg company, and he just made something called Empire of the Sun with Spielberg, and he came to work with me, and he said, "Steven is thinking of making something called Schindler's List in Poland." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, if he's thinking of that, you know, well, he's not stupid. So, okay, all right. If it's good enough for him, it might be good enough for us too." So I looked into it a lot further, and it got a kind of momentum. Well, you may wonder why I'm saying all this, because it does have a bottom line. I'll sum it up this way. They were very optimistic, shall we put it that way. The Poles were extremely keen on having us there and having us spend money there, obviously, and employ them and get into the mainstream movie-making business, which they had not been in. And they said, well, our production people got onto them all the time and said, you know, "Do you have any four-wheel drive vehicles? And is there a quarry nearby?" And all those things that we wanted to know, you know, and how mountainous are the roads to get the vehicles up, and all the practical stuff which you have to go into. And they said, "Oh, everything's fine," you know, and their answers were very good. Well, we learned that the big joke in our unit was the word for no in Polish is "of course." Yes, they have got four-wheel vehicles, and they'll have them on Monday at 9 o'clock. There are no four-wheel vehicles except in the army, and they're run by the Russians. There were Russian soldiers still in the city, walking about in Warsaw, in Russian soldiers' uniform. They hadn't gone home yet, and even though Poland was now free. Well, oh boy, everything we looked at, they didn't have, or it was broken, or it was going to come on Wednesday and it never arrived, or it was twice the price, or it was 4 times the price. And I used to bring all the food, had all the food brought in from Germany, because they didn't have it. They told me it was all there, but they didn't have any. They didn't have any fish, they didn't have any meat, they didn't have any potatoes, you know, that kind of stuff. And all that came across the border from Germany, and along Hitler's autobahns, you know. And eventually, what looked like a nice budget, which Turner Pictures liked, When I started thinking, I flew to LA quickly and said, "Look, I've got to level with you. This is not going to work on the same price as we have hoped for these following 25 reasons." And they said, "Well, stick with it. And yes, we can absorb that, and we can do this, and we can do that, and we'll save money on something else later, and we'll do something else there." So I said, "Okay, right, all right, as long as we don't get cancelled halfway or something like that." And they said, "No, we've never done a thing like that. We never will." Okay, so we started. Well, they didn't have any cables, so we had to bring those in from England. They didn't have any tripods for the second unit, so we had to bring those in from Germany. And it went on like this. The funny part of it was the only joke I know about it, because it was a big strain, was that we had a problem with the vodka factory. I needed a lot of water to fill those tanks. You've seen the picture, I'm sure you know. And I needed clean water. And when you turned on the tap for your shower, if the shower wasn't broken, a kind of cloudy stuff came out, and you didn't want to drink it. What was it? Some kind of, I don't know, limestone coming through the pipes or something? Whatever it was, I don't know. But we couldn't get clear water into our tanks for our effect. And I did floor effects and not digital ones. One of the Polish guys who worked with us said, "I know where to get the water." Okay, I said, "Where?" He said, "It's the vodka factory. They have a big tank, and it's full of water." I said, "Not vodka." No. Water, because you need water for making vodka. And it has to be clear and clean, so it's filtered, beautifully filtered. And they've got a tanker, and my brother knows the guy who drives it. Oh, everything was done in Poland by somebody's brother, you know. And the tank arrived in the middle of the night, and guess what? He was right. There was clear water in it. And so, you know, what a big success. I paid off the driver and paid off somebody else not to tell tales on us and all that kind of stuff. And because there's an awful lot of that. The mayor rang up and wanted to talk to me. And he was absolutely furious. He said, "The townspeople do drink a lot of vodka, and they deserve to drink a lot of vodka, because it's almost like oblivion, you know, to get rid of all their problems. And they are going to be absolutely furious, and my name's going to be Mud. I'm going to be hated because you have taken all the clean water that I need to make the vodka with, and they can't have vodka for another month." Oh, I said, "Oh God, I'm awfully sorry. I mean, the thing is, I mean, we need the water for 3 days." 3 days? He wanted it back. So we kind of placated him in a funny way, and we gave him the water back in 3 days. And a guy came along with a hand pump and pumped it out of those tanks. It took him hours and hours and hours. I was meanwhile off doing something else on a location. All through this, Steven Spielberg's office, Amblin, they were on the phone all the time. How's it going? Do they have a good lab? Lab? What, for developing the movie Rushes? Yes. Oh my God, no. No, we're sending them back to London every night. Oh, why? All this going on. My production manager, Paul Tybers, who'd worked with Spielberg, said to one of them, one of the underlings, on one of these endless calls from Los Angeles, he said, tell Stephen from me, Paul, don't come to Poland. Now, I'm going to say no more and I'm going to get off the phone. But do give him that message. Thank you very much. Well, either the message didn't reach him or he decided to go against it anyway, because a few months later, he came to Poland and made Schindler's List. We'd already edited Frankenstein. It was going to be seen by the public shortly. But apparently they did have the same kind of problems we had. And that made me a little bit sad, because I don't wish it on anybody. Turner Pictures got very good ratings for it. It broke their record. They never had ratings as high at that time. And it sold all over the world very well.